Now I'm going to try something a bit different, and that is to be a little bit more educational on the matter, and show some pretty neat effects while I'm at it. Anyway, let's start the video.
When comedians be like,
they were so fat that they're that standing sweat fat. Crisco was coming out of their pores like a fucking Play-Doh fun factory.
My sister's off the charts. I replaced her pepper spray with silly string. Anyway, that night she got raped.
Trigger warning, you'll find this to be funny.
oh hi babes, let's talk about jokes. When I first started speaking up about rape jokes when I was in high school, a bunch of my friends were like, oh my god Laci, it's just a joke. It's just a joke.
God, Laci Green has the most annoying voice ever. How do I describe it? Just think of Scrappy-Doo from the Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. If he made a YouTube channel, everyone would want this puppy to die. And you're thinking, why do some people hate Scrappy-Doo so much? Well, there's a TV trope page called The Scrappy, which in a nutshell is basically a character who the fans hate because either this person is useless, annoying, or usually both. It's the main reason why I haven't made any videos on Laci, because we have to hear her voice in the most annoying way possible, doing unnecessary effects that only makes her even more annoying. Anyway, Laci, don't you think you're being a stick in the mud by telling these people that the jokes they're making aren't funny? These people are making jokes to each other and you must step in and tell them it's not funny. Funny on how feminists can act like the morality police and tell people which jokes should and should not be made because it might offend or make others look down upon other people. Just like another certain feminist.
The "it's a joke" line was just a way to make me shut up when I criticize them. As Nicole Arbor learned last week, being cruel and then calling it humor doesn't make it any less cruel. A pile of shit with a bow on it is still a pile of shit.
Yes, we can all agree that Nicole Arbor did was wrong. But she wasn't joking, she was deliberately fat-shaming folks. She targeted fat people and looked down on fat people. But guess what? It is her right to do so. That's what separates bigots from rational people.
The most basic tenet of comedy is that it's supposed to make us laugh, right? A good joke can be clever, smart, uncomfortable, weird, biting, goofy, obnoxious, and yes, even offensive.
My sister's off the charts. I replaced her pepper spray with silly string. Anyway, that night she got raped.
I'm going to end up using this clip again because this is where Laci contradicts herself.
Hitting the funny bone is a skill, and it isn't easy. But you know what is easy? Being an asshole. Humor is a type
Apparently, through jokes, we're normalizing injustice.
of communication. All humor has an underlying message, and that message, whether or not we consciously process it, is the reason why we're laughing. Things like rape jokes, fat jokes, police brutality jokes that come at the victim's expense, that's a key, normalize inequalities that already exist in the world.
Apparently, according to you, if we make a joke about a gay man, we're not having fun, but rather we're just punching down a man for being gay, right? Yet when a feminist make a joke about men,
that if a male atheist on YouTube goes too long without calling a woman a cunt, his balls will actually shrivel up and then tuck up inside of him, forming what some call a mangina.
And of course, the feminist reaction would be this.
Just unjust!
The hashtag #KillAllMen is apparently a joke feminists have made, but if this was kill all women, then we would all know that there will be a massive backlash, and we will all know what the white knights are going to say. Apparently it is justified because there is no such thing as reverse sexism, or making jokes about men is not the same as making jokes about women because women are the minority. Even though, one, there are plenty of things that men have the disadvantage of, such as not having the right to leave parenthood, and two, if it's not okay to make jokes about women, then you can't make jokes about men because by your own logic, we don't want to bash down on those men.
People with less power are seen as acceptable targets for cruelty. So when we laugh at someone suffering, we're participating in a broader cultural phenomenon where we don't take those injustices seriously.
You're not joining in bashing gays or women just by making jokes, because that's what they are. Jokes. Unless, of course, you're targeting someone or a group because what they are. Then you're not joking, you're just making fun of them, which is different.
But nothing should be off limits, the comedians
reason why I'm editing like this is because I want to look and sound entertaining while at the same time educate folks. But if you're just using these effects out of randomness, then you're just being annoying.
I am an American, and I have freedom of speech. I totally agree. See, I say all manner of offensive shit to the mainstream. I'm out here, y'all. Criticism doesn't mean that the subject matter is a problem. It's not necessarily the topic, it's the approach. If the approach isn't funny, then critics also have free speech to say what they think.
And guess what? If your criticism of something is wrong or poorly done, then guess what, Laci? You're going to be criticized. However, it seems that feminists love criticizing work, yet hate it when they're being criticized. I know one guy went to jail because he was criticizing a feminist.
Just like any other form of entertainment, comedy does not have some special sacred immunity to criticism.
Unless, of course, you are a feminist, then anything you hold dear being criticized can be put in the category of harassment.
While Daniel Tosh might think that rape is absolutely hilarious, many of us come to comedy to have a good time, not to be reminded that other people see us as less than human.
My sister's off the charts. I replaced her pepper spray with silly string. Anyway, that night she got raped.
People are laughing at this. People are not being reminded that there is women being raped. They're laughing at something that is normally looked down upon. This is what is called gallows humor. We sometimes laugh at things that is normally wrong to do in reality. This is why the show Dan vs. is very popular, because it involves a character, Dan, doing things that normally would be considered to be morally wrong, from straight up vandalism to burning down a pet shop. When making these jokes or laughing at them, you're not participating in murder, rape, or theft, you're just laughing at a joke. It is simple as that.
This bigger comedy debate isn't about constitutional rights, which are robust. Well, generally robust. It's about what's morally right, which is not as robust. What we choose to say and do with our platforms, with the stage, with the mic, with the YouTube channel, with the Twitter account, with the TV show, that speaks volumes about our character. We can punch up at abuses of power, or we can continue to punch at those who are already down.
So you're limiting jokes to people with lower power. The higher position you are in society, the fewer jokes you're not allowed to make. Because, you know, someone might get triggered.
So how do you know which direction something's punching? It's pretty simple. Just ask, who finds this funny?
My sister's off the charts. I replaced her pepper spray with silly string. Anyway, that night she got raped.
Keep in mind that someone who in that audience might have been molested or raped, but they might find it funny because of gallows humor.
Jokes by no means need to be universal, but who's in the group that's laughing? Are abusers, date rapists, the KKK, high school bullies laughing with me? Who is being validated by the message that I'm communicating?
That if a male atheist on YouTube goes too long without calling a woman a cunt, his balls will actually shrivel up and then tuck up inside of him, forming what some call a mangina.
So if only a certain group of people is laughing with you, such as the feminists, then by your own logic, what Rebecca Watson did was horrible because there was plenty of outrage. But this is what she has to say.
Seeing the fact that many people on YouTube like calling outspoken women cunts, and any men who defend outspoken women are manginas. Most people got the joke and went on to watch the rest of the video. However, there were many angry tears shed that day. A lot of people had trouble with the idea that I would speak about the harassment I received in a video that would go on to be about fundraising for cancer research.
I want to end by saying that it is okay to tell an off-color joke. We're all learning. I've told messed up jokes, you told messed up jokes, we're all idiot humans. I don't think we need to handle this by burning people at the stake. That's so 1500s. I think the key is to recognize and apologize. Don't let your ego get in the way. There are some amazing comedians in our YouTube community and in the world.
Of course you're going to like Tomska. I made a video on this piece of shit and all of his fans attacked me without even trying to debate me. Tomska is a fucking coward. If you want to take a look of my video of Tomska, please take a look at it.
They're making us laugh, they're giving us a place to run away from all the bullshit, and some of them are even changing the world, which is like really sexy to me. It just got really warm in here. Not everyone needs to reach that pinnacle of perfection and change the world with their comedy, but at the very least, we can be good to each other.
But I doubt you're going to say the exact same thing for feminists, because feminists can make as many dongle jokes as they want. I am the Atheist Gamer. Peace the game out.